You are not your thoughts, but you must learn to guide them, or they will guide you. But you must learn to guide your life, or even before the world reflects it back. But this is a double-edged sword. If applied without wisdom, it transforms into arrogance. Confidence strengthens your connection to reality. Arrogance severs it. Let me offer you 4 key principles to help you walk this fine line wisely. If we look deeply at the roots of confidence and arrogance, we find that both are nourished by the same soil, the mind. It is not the external world that defines our inner state, but the stories we tell ourselves silently within. The most powerful tool in shaping those stories is our intention. This is the brain hack that can either elevate your spirit or blind you to your own limitations. When you begin each day by affirming something to yourself, you are already setting the compass of your inner world. Whether you say, "I am capable" or "I am unworthy," the mind does not argue, it listens and follows. The question is not whether self-talk works, but in which direction it is steering you. This is where intention becomes the silent architect of identity. Many people think that confidence is built by achievement, but that is only partially true. Real confidence begins long before the first success. It begins with what you decide to believe about yourself before the world gives you proof. When you stand before a challenge and you say, "I can do this," something begins to shift, not just in your thoughts, but in your posture, your breathing, your decisions. Your entire being starts aligning with that direction. But we must pause here and ask a deeper question. Why do I want to believe that I am capable? Is it to serve? Is it to grow? Or is it simply to appear superior to others? When your intention is pure, when your desire for confidence comes from a place of service and contribution, then your self-affirmation becomes a tool for growth. It becomes a pathway to inner strength and grounded presence. However, if the same affirmation, "I am powerful," is born from insecurity or the need to dominate, then it takes a different shape. The words may sound the same, but their energy is entirely different. Instead of grounding you, they inflate you. Instead of connecting you, they separate you from others and from your own truth. This is the quiet beginning of arrogance. Arrogance is not loud at first. It is subtle. It hides beneath the surface of false confidence. It starts when you begin to affirm not your effort, but your superiority. When you look at others and say they are weak, "I am better," rather than "we are all growing in our own way." That is when the brain hack turns against you. You see, the mind is not wise on its own. It is powerful, yes, but it requires direction. It needs a clear intention to guide it properly. This is why in ancient teachings, before one was taught powerful techniques, they were first taught humility. Because if the tool is strong, but the hand is unsteady, it will cut, not build. In your own practice, whether you are an athlete, a student, an artist, or a leader, take a moment each day to ask, where is my intention pointing? Is it towards truth or towards appearance? Am I seeking to express my potential or to inflate my ego? This is not a moral judgment, but a practical one, because arrogance does not lead to real strength. It leads to fragility. It creates a shell that looks strong, but shatters when touched. Confidence built on pure intention is different. It grows quietly. It does not shout. It does not need to prove itself. It walks into the room and brings calm because it is rooted in reality, not in image. It does not say, "I am better than others." It says, "I have something to offer." It does not need to be seen. It needs to be useful. One of the greatest dangers in the modern world is the speed at which image can be built. The internet gives us filters and platforms to project a version of ourselves that may not match who we are inside. This disconnect between the external and the internal is where arrogance thrives, and it is also where suffering begins. Because the more we try to protect that image, the more we must defend it, and the less space we have to grow. When your intention is aligned with service, with curiosity, with growth, then your confidence becomes a sanctuary. It is a place where you can rest because it is not based on pretending. It is real, it is earned, it is renewed every day through action and reflection. This is the difference between saying I am strong because I have done the work and I am strong because I must appear stronger than others. The first one builds resilience, the second builds a fragile mask that needs constant maintenance. So I invite you to look not at the words you say to yourself, but the energy behind them. Ask, is this coming from fear or love? From competition or connection? From scarcity or from the fullness of who I am trying to become? You will find that when your intention is clean, your thoughts become your allies. They lift you, they guide you, they carry you through difficulty. But when your intention is corrupted, even the most powerful affirmation becomes hollow. The words lose their weight and you feel it. You may fool others, but not yourself. Not for long. That discomfort inside is the call back to alignment. It is the quiet voice reminding you that strength without clarity is dangerous. In this way, the same brain hack that can transform you into someone who walks through life with steady feet and open eyes can also turn you into someone lost in illusion and self-importance. The mind does not choose between confidence and arrogance. You do. And your choice is made through your intention. So let that be your anchor. The breath before the thought, the silence before the affirmation. The space where you ask, what is my true reason for saying this? And in that space you will find your answer. Because true power is quiet, true growth is humble, and true confidence never needs to shout. Walk wisely, breathe fully, and remain rooted in truth. If we truly wish to understand confidence and why it lasts in some and fades in others, we must go deeper than surface appearances. We must explore where confidence is born, not where it is displayed. Many people chase the outer image of confidence, the posture, the tone, the look, but they miss its foundation. Confidence that endures is not a gift, and it is not an act. It is the outcome of repeated action. It grows out of. Think of a craftsman who works with his hands each day, shaping wood into form. Over time, his touch becomes precise, his rhythm natural, his mind calm. He does not need to say, I am skilled. His hands speak for him. That is real confidence. It arises from doing, from refining, from meeting resistance and moving through it, again and again until it becomes part of who you are. The mind often tries to skip the path. It wants to say, I am already enough, before it has tested its strength. And while it is important to affirm our worth, we must not confuse worth with skill. The seed has worth, but only through time and care does it bear fruit. Real confidence is the fruit. This is where many people fall into the trap of arrogance. They mistake declarations for development. They say I am a leader before they have served. They say I am wise before they have listened. They want the fruit without nurturing the root. But nature does not allow shortcuts. The tree grows in silence, and only after it has endured seasons does it stand tall. You cannot fake competence, not in the long run. The body remembers, the breath reveals. The moment of pressure strips away all illusion, and when that moment comes, it does not ask what you believe, it asks what you have done. Confidence built on competence will respond. Arrogance built on image will crumble. So if you seek unshakable confidence, you must walk the slow path, the path of repetition, the path of failure and reflection, the path where every mistake is your teacher and every success is quiet proof, not for the world but for yourself. You do not need the world to confirm it when your hands already know. In the Shaolin tradition, before a student is taught powerful techniques, they are given simple ones again and again. The master watches not just their form but their attitude. Are they patient? Are they disciplined? Do they correct their own mistakes or wait to be told? This process is not about skill alone. It is about character, because true confidence is never separated from inner strength. Competence is not perfection. It is not about never making mistakes. It is about knowing how to respond when they happen. It is about being familiar with difficulty and learning how to move through it with grace. It is about knowing that your foundation is strong because you built it with effort, not because someone told you it was. This is why people who have earned their strength rarely boast. They have no need to. They know what it cost, they respect the process more than the praise. And they also recognize it in others quietly. They know the difference between someone who acts confident and someone who is. When you build competence, your confidence comes with calm, not with noise. It allows you to walk into uncertainty, not because you know everything, but because you trust yourself to figure it out. You are not afraid of not knowing. You are only focused on learning. On the other side, arrogance fears the unknown. It tries to cover it with big words, with postures, with judgment. It avoids challenge because challenge threatens the image. And slowly that image becomes a prison. A person becomes trapped in defending who they think they are instead of becoming who they are meant to be. The practice of building competence is not always exciting. It often looks like repetition, it feels like boredom. It demands humility, because you must be willing to say, I do not know yet, I am not ready yet, I will keep trying. That is not weakness, that is the birthplace of mastery. The brain hack that turns thoughts into belief only works when those beliefs are tested. If you say, I am confident but never face discomfort, your words remain empty. But if you face difficulty and stay with it, breathe through it, move through it, then those same words become powerful. They are backed by memory, by evidence, by truth. In this way, your brain begins to understand what you are capable of, not because you imagined it, but because you lived it. That is the kind of confidence no one can take from you, because no one gave it to you. You built it with your own breath, your own time, your own choices. Every time you show up, every time you stay longer than comfort wants you to, every time you learn from failure, you are feeding the roots of competence, and the fruit will come quietly, without effort. It will be seen in your eyes, in your walk, in your presence. You will not need to say anything because you have already said it with your life. So if you find yourself doubting, if you wonder whether you have what it takes, do not chase confidence directly. Chase confidence. Wake up and do what must be done again and again. Watch your thoughts, but more importantly, watch your actions. Let your actions teach your mind who you are. Confidence is not the firework, it is the steady flame that stays lit through wind and rain. That flame is kept alive by competence, not by noise, not by titles, not by applause. Return to your practice, return to what you are building. Let the world speak when it is time. Until then, let your work be your answer. Walk quietly, move deeply, and let confidence rise from the ground you have walked. The mind listens. It listens whether you speak out loud or only in silence. It listens when you whisper to yourself with doubt and when you speak with power and belief. What you say to yourself in these moments becomes the shape of your reality. This is the brain's most underestimated ability and also its most dangerous gift. Because self-talk is not just a habit, it is a weapon. And like any weapon, it can protect or it can harm depending on how you use it. When you wake in the morning, the first thoughts that move through your mind already begin to shape your direction. If you say, I am not ready, I am tired, I do not want to face this, the body will agree. The breath will change, the shoulders may drop. The energy becomes low, not because the day is difficult, but because the mind declared defeat before the challenge began. On the other hand, if you say, I will move forward, I can handle what comes, your inner system begins to align with that command. It is not magic, it is biology. The nervous system responds to direction. The brain responds to the signals you choose to send. This is why the words you speak to yourself matter. Not just occasionally, but continuously. You do not need to speak loudly. You do not even need others to hear it. What matters is what you say when no one is watching. What matters is the tone you use when you speak to yourself in struggle. Do you criticize? Do you attack? Do you fall into fear or blame? Or do you respond like a calm guide, a patient teacher? A quiet strength that says, I am here and I am not leaving. There are people who move through life with heavy thoughts weighing them down, not because life is harder for them, but because they have repeated certain phrases in their mind for too long. I am not enough. I always fail. I do not belong. These are not harmless thoughts, they are chains, and the longer you carry them, the heavier they become until they are no longer thoughts, but part of your identity. But if you change those phrases and do so with discipline, everything shifts. Discipline means you do not wait for motivation. Discipline means you speak truth to yourself even when the feeling is not there. Discipline means you speak what you are becoming, not just what you feel in the moment. This is where the brain hack lives. The words you feed yourself consistently create the pathways in your brain. They build patterns and habits and responses that feel automatic after time. But nothing is automatic at first. It is choice followed by repetition, followed by embodiment. Still, this same power can turn against you. If you begin using powerful words without awareness, if you start declaring things about yourself that are not grounded in action or intention, then the mind builds illusion instead of truth. You might begin saying, I am the best. I am beyond mistakes. I am above others. And if these words are not rooted in reflection, humility, or purpose, then what you are building is not confidence, it is arrogance. Arrogance grows when self-talk becomes a wall instead of a window. When your inner dialogue is no longer about guiding yourself but defending an image, you start to block growth. You stop listening to feedback. You start believing only your own voice, and this voice becomes an echo that distorts your understanding of reality. The mind must be trained not just to speak positively, but to speak truthfully. A positive lie is still a lie. Saying I am perfect will not help you grow. Saying I am learning will. Saying I never make mistakes will blind you. Saying I learn from every mistake will open you. Self-talk is not about fantasy. It is about forming a relationship with yourself that is rooted in respect and awareness. When you speak to yourself during moments of pain or failure, you are given an opportunity to rewire your brain. You can either repeat the same destructive script, or you can pause, breathe, and choose new words. Words that bring clarity, words that remind you who you are beyond the situation, words that lift you without disconnecting you from your responsibility. This is why self-talk must be used with care. It is powerful, too powerful to use recklessly. Like fire, it can warm you or burn you. Like a blade, it can protect you or injure you, depending on your awareness. When you understand this, you begin to treat your inner words with the same discipline you would use with any sacred practice. Every person will face doubt, fear, uncertainty. That is not weakness, that is life. The difference is how you respond to those feelings. Do you add to them with careless words, or do you speak with intention? Do you let the storm inside grow, or do you remind yourself of your center? Even something as simple as saying, I am here, I am breathing, I am not finished yet, can begin to shift your state. The words do not have to be grand, they have to be real, they have to be you. So when you speak to yourself, remember, this is not just a mental exercise, it is a training of spirit. It is a way of walking through the world with clarity, not illusion. When your inner words are clear and grounded, your outer actions begin to reflect that strength. When your inner voice is arrogant or delusional, your outer world becomes unstable and defensive. The goal is not to silence the voice, but to guide it. to bring it into alignment with your values, with your efforts, with your purpose. Let your words follow your actions. Let your affirmations follow your discipline. Let your mind serve you by feeding it with direction, not fantasy. The brain listens always, and so you must speak wisely, not once but daily, not only in ease but especially in difficulty. Self-talk is a tool of transformation only if you wield it with care. It can carry you through doubt or deepen your illusions. It can build strength or build ego. The choice is not in the words alone, but in how and why you say them. Speak with care, speak with truth, and let the voice inside you become your greatest support, not your deepest enemy. As we walk further into the nature of confidence and its shadow arrogance, we arrive at a truth that many avoid because it does not shine loudly or seek recognition. Humility is the guardian of true power. Without humility, confidence becomes hollow. It becomes a shell that may seem strong on the outside but has no weight within. It is humility that grounds us and keeps the mind clear as we grow in skill, in knowledge, in strength. When you begin to develop confidence through intention and through competence, when you discipline your inner voice and direct your thoughts with care, there is a subtle danger that rises quietly. It is the temptation to believe you are above others, to begin comparing your growth not with your own past, but with the weakness of others. And in this moment you may not notice that your confidence has started to rot. This is why humility is not a weakness but a necessity. It does not ask you to pretend you are small. It asks you to remain aware of how much more there always is to learn. It asks you to keep your eyes on the path, not on the applause. Because applause fades, and when it does, if your strength was built on praise, it disappears with the noise. But if your strength was built on effort and kept humbled by self-awareness, it cannot be taken. True power is not loud. It does not enter the room needing to prove itself. It is calm, it observes, it respects those around it because it knows what it took to walk the path, and it knows that others are walking theirs too. Power without humility is dangerous, not just to others but to yourself. It blinds you to your own limits. It makes you stop listening. It convinces you that you are finished when you are only beginning. In the ancient way, the strongest warriors bowed first, not because they were beneath others, but because they had the discipline to control their ego. They understood that pride is the first thing that must be defeated before any battle begins. They were not afraid to kneel, because they knew their strength did not live in how high they stood, but in how deeply they understood themselves. So when you feel yourself growing stronger, when your skills improve, when your voice becomes more steady, when others begin to notice you, that is the moment to be most careful. That is the moment to return to stillness, to return to practice, to remember what it felt like to struggle, to fail, to not know, because those moments taught you more than praise ever will. Humility does not mean you do not recognize your growth. It means you see it without needing to shout it. It means you acknowledge your progress without using it to measure others. It means your confidence becomes a quiet offering, not a loud declaration. When people meet you, they feel strength, not because you say, "I am strong," but because they sense you are present, open and grounded. This presence comes from knowing yourself deeply, from walking through failure, from facing discomfort, from returning again and again to the practice. Not for attention, but for alignment. Confidence without humility begins to drift toward illusion. You start believing you are always right. You stop learning. You stop seeing the wisdom in others. You forget that your strength came not from being above others, but from working within yourself. There is also peace in humility, because when you no longer need to prove you are strong, you are free. You can focus. You can listen. You can grow with less resistance. You are not driven by image, but by purpose. You can walk into any space without fear of being seen as weak, because you are no longer trying to appear as anything. You are simply being who you are. That kind of confidence cannot be disturbed. It is not shaken by opinion. It is not destroyed by challenge. It lives in movement, in breath, in action. Humility allows you to carry this strength without burden, without needing to be perfect, without hiding your flaws. You do not need to hide what you are still working on when you are not pretending to be complete. In this way, humility protects you from arrogance, not by making you small, but by keeping you real. You can lead without controlling. You can teach without forcing. You can grow without comparison, because you know that every step is part of the journey and no one is above the path. When you see someone else succeeding, your confidence does not shrink, because your humility reminds you that their success does not take anything from you. There is space for all to grow. You can celebrate others without losing yourself, and that is a sign of true strength. When someone criticizes you or challenges you, your confidence is not broken because your humility allows you to reflect without collapse. If we train strength without humility, we are only training the surface. If we grow skill without character, we are building a tower without a foundation. It may rise quickly, but it will fall just as fast. The deeper your roots, the higher you can rise without fear. In your own journey, let humility be your guide. Let it remind you to listen more, to speak with care, to act from truth, not ego. Let it bring softness to your strength and clarity to your ambition. Let it be the part of you that never forgets the beginning, even when you reach higher places. Because the moment you think you have reached the top is the moment you stop climbing. The moment you believe you are above learning is the moment you begin to fall. And if you fall with humility, you rise again. But if you fall with arrogance, you stay down longer, not because you cannot rise, but because you refuse to see the ground. So stay grounded, stay aware. Let every success bring you closer to your purpose, not your pride. Let every gain deepen your gratitude. Let every compliment remind you of those who helped you. Let your silence speak when words are not needed, and let your actions reflect your values. Walk forward with steady feet, with open hands, with eyes that see, and a heart that remembers where you started. Let your confidence be still. Let your power be humble. Let your presence speak quietly, and let your journey continue without noise.